Hey guys, Zelonius here. Welcome to another video on the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my 4-2-3-1 custom tactics and player instructions. As a side note, before we get into it, I've had this team, quite a similar team, for a few weeks now. I've got a couple of million coins that I could invest in it. Is there any players? Modric is untradeable. That's one thing you need to know. Ramos and Capdevila as well. Is there any good upgrades? Bar like just get the 89 Capdevila, get the 89 Valverde. Is there any good players that you think are good value that I could swap out and make the team a lot better? But anyway, we're getting into the tactics. So 4-2-3-1. One of the most popular formations every single FIFA. And we're going to explain why. We're going to say what makes it so good. We will talk about some of the things that are not as good about it, because whenever I share a formation or custom tactic, I like to be as upfront, as honest as I can. Different people have different play styles that are going to suit different tactics and formations. It's one of the reasons I try, test, and showcase so many to you guys. I don't want to just put one or two that only the pros use these, and then everyone be like, well, I'm just stuck with that. And when it comes to these tactics formations as well, I always give you a tactic that I think is plug and play. By that I mean you could just put it in and use it and be fine. But I would always encourage you to tweak it, try change things up a bit, even test some things and maybe make it even better. Obviously, I'm just one person testing something, so if I have thousands of people try a tactic and change stuff and test it, you might be able to find something better than me. But at the same time, like I say, you might have different ways of playing, so it's never me just saying, put this tactic in, don't change anything. Like, I think that you guys can change things up, and yeah, I think you get what I'm saying. But yeah, so the 4-2-3-1, one of the things that makes it so good, the front four, really nice and different patterns. They're good at keeping the ball, they're spread across, having a cam's really nice. But that is one of the weaknesses with the 4-2-3-1, the lack of two strikers. Having one striker, especially on this year's game where through balls are so good, so you only have one striker essentially making runs, that does hold the formation back a little bit. It's not my favourite formation. I don't enjoy the playstyle as much in this. This formation is probably more suited to people who are very patient, want to keep the ball a lot, and want to be just do the fundamentals right, which is always a good thing to do, but this formation is very much about that. 5-star up front. That makes a big difference, especially at the cab as well. If you can have two 5-star 5-stars there, because there's quite a few options now, then it's going to massively help you. Simply put, when you have a lot of options in terms of skill moves, can go either way on weak foot, it makes you a lot less predictable. And in this formation, when you can be a little bit more isolated with only one striker, having a guy who can be a lot more predictable makes a big difference. For the outside cams, you need pace. I don't play Valverde there in the sense of he wouldn't be like a super meta player I'd put there. He could do a job there, but just when I'm trying to test out different formations, I don't want to completely change my team every time. Verratti and Modric. I've got one CDM who's very good going forward, that's Modric. And then one CDM who's more defensive minded, that'd be Verratti. However, when it comes to CDMs, you want CDMs who can do a bit of everything. When I do the tier list and talk about the best midfielders in the game, you'll probably notice that the majority of them are very well rounded, because I think that's what you need on this game. I don't think, to be honest, I don't think since FIFA 19 we've really had a game where you just wanted a destroyer at CDM. Still, Vieira's amazing on the game, but he does lack a lot going forward. And then for the defence, it's pretty standard stuff. However, for the fullbacks, you don't really need fullbacks who are that good going forward, because in this formation, because you already get the width from the Lam and Ram, your fullbacks are going to be set to stay back. But yeah, it's a great formation. The two CDMs sit in front of the flat back four. That's going to make it very hard for people to break it down, because it's all midfielders except Ginola. Because the cams, you can put them on come back on defense. That's going to make you very hard to break down. The only weakness defensively this formation would really have is if you pushed up a lot with the fullbacks. But that'd be the same in any formation, and you don't really need to do this. So out of all the top meta formations that you can play, this is definitely up there as one of the very best defensively. It's very hard to break someone down in this formation if they don't dive in, don't pull players out, and just stand their ground, which is what I would encourage people to generally do defensively. In terms of the tactics, you can tweak it a bit. I would go anywhere from 40 to 50 depth. I don't run the auto offside traps as much in this formation. Simply put, they're very good, but they are a little bit risky at times. In this formation, so solid defensively, I don't want to take any risks that could mess it up, to be honest. Balanced defensive style we will switch in the more attacking version of it to press after possession loss. For the build-up play, balance, direct passing. Direct passing is really important in this one. When I talk about the tactics and say you can tweak, test, try different stuff out, certain stuff I would say is pretty key. So like centre backs, keep on, stay back. That's pretty obvious. But direct passing I think is really important in this formation because the one striker you want him to pin the defenders back to make more space for the cams. I put quite high width. I wouldn't go higher than this, to be honest. I think you could go anywhere down to 55 as well. I don't think you notice it massively, but I think it probably does make more of a difference than we can kind of tell. Players in box 6. You don't want too many, too little, really. For the instructions, stay central, stay forward on the striker. Pretty obvious why you'd want him on stay forward. He's going to be your only player really making those runs in behind, so it's pretty vital that you're able to make sure he's making those runs for you. I don't really see any reason to ever come back on defense on this game for a striker. It doesn't do a lot, just affects the stamina. I like him staying centrally as well because he's supposed to be the focal point of the team. If he starts drifting out, I could have no one centrally. And quite often central is where sometimes someone can just open up a little bit and you want to make sure someone's there. I put come back on defense on all of the cams, simply put, because they're midfielders. If you put them on come back on defense, they're all going to get back and it's going to make you a lot harder to break down. It does affect your counter-attack a bit, it does make you a little bit worse. If you want, this formation actually is very good for through balls and counter-attacking if you put these all on stay forward. It's just not quite as good as some of the others like 4-3-2-1. So you may as well play those if that's what you're trying to play for. But if you do just like how this formation plays in the pads, having even maybe the two outside wingers on stay forward can make a big difference with that. Cut passing lanes on both the CDMs. I have them both on cover centre as well. I want them staying there. I've got the Lam and Ram and fullbacks defending the wings. Cut passing lanes I just find tends to be the best. Stay back while attacking on the more defensive-minded midfielder. I want him to stay back and anchor the team. And then balanced attack on Modric. He's the midfielder who's going to get forward. Basically for this, whichever player in your team you think is the best midfielder in terms of all-round getting forward, put balanced attack on him. For the defenders, stay back on all of them. I think that, for me, is what tends to work best in this formation. For attacking, very similar. I think the width, I think we had 40 in the other one, so I've pushed it a little bit more. You could go all the way to 55, honestly, just to make you press a little bit better, because you can press out wide more. The depth, we've put it auto off side traps because we're being more aggressive with the press after possession loss. Direct passing still, the width we've lowered slightly. For the instructions, very much the same, other than we had getting to the box in the last one for the Lam and Ram, we're keeping that. The cam we've got balanced instead of stay on edge of the box. But honestly, not a lot changes. You could go balanced on the fullbacks. That could be an option. I still don't think you massively need it. I don't think this is the best formation in the game in terms of pressing and coming back into it. I think it's more of a control formation. That's very dominant and very good when you're in front. So do bear that in mind. You probably would be better having this here and then in the attacking a slightly more aggressive formation like the 4-2-2 that has two strikers, in my opinion. But it's a very good formation. It's a very good starter formation in terms of the fundamentals of FIFA and learning the game. I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you've got any questions, do let me know in the comments. Appreciate your support as always. Keep it spicy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.